Some very strange subject matter now on 5 as our big art challenge hits Wales. Old people having sex. That's the subject. Now, what do you think about that? Brian Sewell.
I'm sorry, I have to tell you, I think it's totally repellent. And nothing you say has convinced me that I should think otherwise about it. I'm sorry, I hate it.
I'm standing outside the Oriel Washington Gallery in Penarth. Inside, we have artists from all over Wales and the southwest waiting to compete in the Cardiff heat of Big Art Challenge. Some people are professional artists, some are art students, and some are enthusiastic amateurs. Last week in London, judges Wayne Hemingway, Brian Sewell and Jane Wilson weren't too impressed with the quality of the work. Will Cardiff change their minds? Thousands entered. But of the 100 artists who have made it to the Washington Gallery, only 10 can go into the next round and get a little closer to our prize of £10,000. Dick Knoll collects something dear to Wayne's heart, turf from professional football pitches.
So there's been quite a lot of football and art recently, hasn't there? And, there's been, like, exhibitions at Preston North End, I've seen, and all that kind of stuff. And
well, I mean, you're more interested in who Sven slept with than Tracy Eamon, really, aren't you?
Yeah, but is that art?
What, Tracy Eamon or Sven? It actually started when Forest Green Rovers got promoted to the conference, as you'll remember being a Blackburn fan. Forest Green Rovers.
Oh, right, yeah.
And to celebrate this great event, I picked up some grass and took it back home, because we're on the pitch celebrating, and I framed it, and it kind of looked kind of Japanese to me, which is strange, because you don't get many Japanese footballers playing at Forest Green. But in itself, I thought the image was actually quite beautiful.
Are you class yourself as a full-time artist then?
No.
You don't? What do you do in your real time?
I'm a chartered accountant.
Right.
My next piece of work, when I get through, if I get through, will combine accountancy and art, which I think is a whole area which has been...
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that, if you get through.
If I get through.
Normally it's the artist, not the art, that's left visibly shaken after talking with Brian. How will Simon Brundrett and Robert McPartland get on?
It always seems to me that painting a picture is like, the painter has a conversation with the picture as it goes along. And the picture sometimes determines what the next step is. I think most people who look at paintings have an idea that it's completely formed in the painter's eye before it gets on the canvas, and that's it. But even in a motif like this, there is your response to what your hand, as almost another personality, has done with the canvas. I have a slight problem with this. I'm a doggy man. I've been rescuing dogs.
Yeah.
Making it tremble is taking it literally too far. It's what you see starving, terrified dogs do.
This dog, it moves because I like it to confound expectations. I like things to contrast, things that don't necessarily reconcile, to try and bring them together.
I want it to be read in all kinds of ways, to invite, if the viewer so wishes, some kind of landscape interpretation. I moved here 9 years ago and I thought I'd paint landscape.
You live here?
Yes, I live in Cardiff.
Good heavens, yeah. Is that wise?
It's great.
I'm utterly sceptical about the provinces. Of course, I think that they are sort of moribund and mutton-headed and can't see anything.
Of course.
Is Cardiff flooding to your door? It's masses knocking and saying, we want a picture? No. Well, I think we should rebuke Cardiff for not knocking on your door.
Thank you very much.
Business of the tension in the forelegs particularly, and that hunch in the back. This is all so familiar, and I think you caught it perfectly. And then it begins to tremble. And I lose my response to the predicament in my curiosity about the trembling.
Richard Ballinger has created a DIY traffic jam. Wayne has a question for him.
But somebody will say, is it art?
Well, why not? I mean, it's my own artistic value to sort of position things and to put them where I like, and also I like doing things with toys. I mean, I obviously missed out when I was younger or something, you know.
Well, it's a good excuse to get on your hands and knees and push a car around.
Yeah, it's fun.
Can we sit on the floor for a few hours and shunt them all around slowly and pretend it's a big traffic jam?
Yeah, it'd be great if you could move it, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd be
and make the horn movement. Make the horn noise as well.
I mean, yeah.
Right, well, instead of going back...
Is that what you want to do?
That's right, I think we should just sit here and play with the cars, yeah. I like that ambulance down there. But I think it should be about 4 millimetres forward.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
It's not quite, I'm not quite satisfied with its position, so could you just move that one down there? That one about 3 or 4 millimetres. Just
shunt
it.
Here?
Yeah, that'll do. That's perfect now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect, yeah. I'm happier now.
I'm sorry to have to say that I think your picture, and I use the word picture rather than painting, is, to me, repellent. Did you get somebody to pose for it? Or?
No, that's me. That's me in the photograph.
It's you.
Yeah, we only ever use ourselves in our work.
I can't understand, to begin with, why it's a mixture of painting and photography. Why don't you do one or the other?
Basically, our work is all an idea about being twins. It's based on experiences. We've grown up close to each other, we like similar things, and a daily event for us is that double take. So we wanted to try and rope that in with the work, so we want that double take of whether it is a photograph or whether it's a painting. The work is basically a chance for us to adopt new identities and break away from this joint one that we've had for 23 years.
Yes, I'm sorry, I hate it.
I do seem to spend a large part of the day mopping up after Brian. He destroyed you, really, didn't he? He absolutely hated this.
Yeah, we don't mind, though. I think he's a bit of a traditionalist, and we want to go forward, so we'll leave him with his painting.
You just couldn't care less.
That's it, not really.
But to be honest, I think hate is as important, you know, it's a strong reaction, and I'd rather someone had a strong reaction to work than say, oh, it's all right.
He's good at strong reactions.
He is.
Yeah. I think he's jealous of me in a dress as well, to be honest.
I know it's out of fashion, and a trifle uncool. But I can't help it, I'm a romantic fool. It's a habit of mine, to watch the sun go down. On Echo Beach, I watch the sun go down.
So, Rebecca, looking at this piece, Sunseeker, just wanted to know what the concept is around it and why it's actually an overhead.
This is like the cycle of work to try and work up to sort of happiness, but it's a cycle that just sort of continues.
I see. So Sunseeker, it's about sort of looking for a kind of contentment and being
in a
happy.
materialistic kind of way,
and
sort of.
And so, in a way, what that brings us around to like the soundtrack that you're using, which is the Martha and the Muffins Echo Beach.
Yeah.
Is that, being treated, because you can hear it's treated as a kind of computerised rendition. Is that because it's kind of about this technology not letting you
it's the sort of,
have the happiness?
I like the sort of, this monotonous sound is kind of like the monotony of work. And the actual lyrics to Echo Beach are sort of like wishing, sort of, in a quite a sort of literal way, wishing to sort of be on the beach somewhere and not have to do your 9 to 5.
Sometimes you've got to be really kind of conscious when you're using that in terms of editing to picture. That sound can stop you sometimes looking at the picture.
Religion has inspired some of the world's greatest artists. But is Anthony Paget really one of them?
Do you always dress like that?
No.
Are you the art? Is she the art? Is this the art? Or are you one?
It's a bit of a mix, really.
So you haven't come on a bus like that?
No, I got changed here, yeah. This doll I created at Ground Zero in New York.
You created it there?
Well, I bought the doll, but painted it with the rainbow swastika, which is a Hindu mystical symbol, symbol of peace and gay rights and the New Age. It's related to Kabbalah and it's anti-Nazi. Got a flat in Morecambe, an interreligious art flat. Yes.
An interreligious art... Now, I was born in Morecambe.
Oh, right, splendid.
And I'm patron of the Winter Gardens.
Right, splendid.
Is it Morecambe that's inspired... I'm interested in...
Part of it, yeah, because it's looking at kitsch from different religions and pilgrimage in religion, but also how people go on seaside.
You're trying to say that Morecambe's kitsch?
Well,
never.
Just bits of it, but it's more. What's more shocking is I'm trying to say Morecambe's religious and spiritual.
Yeah. What religion wears them on daily? What are they called?
Well, that's disco boppers. So it's like faith, different faiths. Do the dance. Do the dance. Do the interreligious disco dance. Because I'm doing a project Divinity Land as well, which is like Disneyland.
Like Frontierland, but
like Frontierland, but all different world religions.
Have you been to college and studied art?
Well, originally I was an RE teacher, then I worked for the Israeli and Palestinian governments restoring old churches in the West Bank.
Right.
And then...
so your art's come out of you then?
It's come out of real life and working in Muslim villages and Jewish villages. So there's a lot of meaning behind the work.
In part 2 of Big Art Challenge.
Well, it's called Tweaker in Awe. And you say it's part of an ongoing series which originated with nipple-tweaking birds.
Yes.
I think that your judgments are those of somebody who knows absolutely nothing about art.
The thing is, I don't mind if I don't know anything about the history of art.
No, clearly you don't.
100 artists with only 10 going through to the next stage, and 3 judges that can't agree about anything. Welcome to Big Art Challenge. Despite seeing some things they've liked, the judges are still unsure about a lot of the work. Brian takes one look at truck art and decides to give it a very wide berth.
It's funny. And I bet the truck drivers think it's funny as well. They love it, don't they? Absolutely
they
love it.
love it. They love the fact that they're seen now. You know, we just don't see their shoulders and heads anymore. We see them as real people.
2 different styles of portraiture have very definitely caught Jane's eye.
Well, the project's entitled The Myth of Sexual Loss, and what it is a project around the ageing sexual body. It's a positive representation of the ageing sexual body.
And is this the people you're choosing to portray? I mean, are these people that you've just kind of contacted through an old people's home, or what's
well, I put an ad in free magazines for over 50s, and also magazines, naturist magazines, people that are quite comfortable with their naked body. Because it's me going in, telling them to take their clothes off and posing nude for me, you know. So even though they're not full body portraits, but I like them to be fully nude so I can work around the body and see what to capture, you know.
I wanted to capture something of the character of the person, and Lawrence is a seaman and involved in boats. He's actually making a boat, and he's a close friend. He's somebody that I see every day, and I wanted to just get across the feeling of the character and the life that's written in his face, and in order to be able to work that out, I needed to produce it on a large scale.
What I wanted to do is represent the ageing sexual body, you know, because it's not represented in the media as a positive thing, you know. Over a certain age you don't have sex, you know, blah 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 blah, you know. So
and do these people very happy to, you know, walk around naked and enjoy it, and have healthy sex lives?
Healthy sex lives.
And is that part of the stipulation of them appearing in this image, is that they've got to have a healthy sex life?
Yeah, and very intimate, you know.
So was this quite a departure for you, producing something this large?
A little bit, yes. I had a dream, and I dreamt that I produced this painting at this size, in this medium, and the next day, because I had the canvas, I actually set about it, and it went very smoothly.
Were you self-taught, or is this something you studied, or is this something that...
I am self-taught, yes.
Well, it's called Tweaker in Awe, and you say it's part of an ongoing series which originated with nipple-tweaking birds.
Yes. I'd been doing a photography project where I'd been photographing people tweaking their own nipples. And,
as you do.
From there, I was like making a language play of tweaking and tweakers, and I thought, wouldn't it be great, instead of tweaking your own, that a bird, you know, a tweaking bird could tweak nipples. I'd never be able to get a bird to do that, so...
Let's put some bird seed on them. Did you try?
Well, I was thinking maybe I could try on statues, putting
like sesame seeds or something. Yeah. The point of this one is that I feel like I'm this bird. You know, I'm looking up to this big, beautiful, real bird.
So out of a picture which you could just look at and you could think, oh, well, that's a funny-looking budgie sat on a golden... a badly painted, funny-looking budgie. There's all sorts going on in there. There's philosophy, there's nipple-tweaking birds, there's a comment on the history of art.
I'm quite excited by it at the moment.
Brian finds himself drawn to two types of art with a rich history: sculpture and etching.
How long have you been a sculptor?
I have been a sculptor about 2 years. Everything I've ever done has always been manual. So for me, it's just another progression of finding shapes. I used to be a sheet metal worker.
This is really interesting because this is such an alien material, sheet metal. This is intellectually, physically, aesthetically an entirely different business. Marvellous to see something so old-fashioned and requiring real control of technique. This is Rembrandt. This is the way Rembrandt worked.
It hasn't changed.
And no, here we are, almost 4 centuries later, doing exactly the same thing.
Yes.
It is actually very difficult for people who know nothing about the work of a sculptor to understand. In fact, I don't think they ever contemplate the difficulty of having something in your mind's eye, selecting a piece of stone, and then translating what is here from something within the block.
No.
I see this as the door of some stretched limousine and all these people tumbling out, and here are the paparazzi.
That's right, yes.
With their lenses.
It just happened like that. I was walking past the stage door and there were all these people coming out. There were photographers there. And then somebody was carrying this wonderful stuffed peacock. So I just put the image together. The only one I actually pinched from somewhere else was that. And I think that was Bruce Willis.
Oh.
That little face.
This is only my second stone carving I've ever done in my life.
In terms of what you managed to do, I think is astonishing.
Thank you.
Of the pieces that I've seen so far here in Cardiff, this is the one that I'd put over my mantelpiece.
Really?
Yeah. Is it meant? Do you imagine it in a kind of domestic environment, or is it just a gallery piece?
No, it's a wall piece, definitely for an interior setting, either domestic or otherwise.
And as an artist, are you quite happy that people think of something as purely a decorative piece? I mean, to you, this has got some kind of meaning, of which, you know, as a judge I'm interested in, but as somebody putting it on my wall, I'm just not interested in what it means at all. Sometimes I'm just interested in whether something looks nice.
I think every onlooker brings their own meaning to a piece, and a piece really grows the more people put their own interpretation on it, if you like. I don't have any sort of highfalutin ideas that you must or must not see it in a decorative way or not. I don't mind it at all.
That. I know what my wife would say. She'd say, yeah, it's lovely, but imagine the dusting.
So Wayne, have you seen anything that you like so far?
I was quite interested in the football grass. And as soon as I got there, I wanted to get on the floor and start looking for blackburn.
I was a little disappointed at Dick's presentation, really, of his work. It just seemed like a kind of very contrived containment to it all.
If Blackburn had the largest frame and the biggest tuft of grass, I probably would have put him forward to win the whole thing. I like the father that looks like he's dead, lying in state.
But it's not her dad, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. So
no, it's not her dad.
Not her dad.
It's all about the relationship between sex and old people.
Right.
The sympathy that the photographer puts into the subject that she's exploring, the sexuality of the old, is one which I am on the verge of it myself, as it were.
Kind of reminded me of what Brian Sewell might look like lying in state.
Don't say that.
And whether that's a good thought or a bad thought, I've not quite come to the conclusion yet.
Now the important thing, the judging. Only 10 artists can go on and complete a second piece of work. Only one can win a prize of £10,000. Just like last week in London, Brian and Wayne are struggling to find common ground.
I think that your judgments are those of somebody who knows absolutely nothing about art.
But I don't mind. The thing is, I don't mind if I don't know anything about the history of art.
No, clearly you don't. What to me is important about that is that at least it qualifies in my mind as art.
There was something about the madness of him setting about this project which seemed really, really sanitised in how you actually displayed it.
You know, it's not all about analysing things down to the very nth detail. Sometimes it is about entertainment. Why can't art entertain? That entertained me.
I want something more in art than mere decoration. I want something that nourishes my soul every time I see it.
I was interested in that as a piece of art that would look absolutely brilliant above my mantelpiece again. It doesn't have to do anything else for me other than to be something that I could look at for a good few years and think that is a piece of beauty and somebody's put some real effort into that and I like it.
Is that the way you buy a car?
I buy a car to get me from A to B.
And that's all? You don't consider it a thing of beauty? There's nothing sensual in having a good car?
Well, no, the first thing that I would think about with a car is it safe to take me and my kids? Is it reliable?
Well, that is perfectly safe to hang above your mantelpiece.
So these are the three we're supposed to be agreeing on, but I'm surprised, Brian, that you like the rubber shaking dog. Is that one of yours?
Well, I don't like it because it's rubber, and I don't like it because it's shaking. I like it because basically it's a decent piece of sculpture.
And then the second one that we all seem to agree on is...
It's Karen Brett, the photographer.
It's a damn good photograph, and it's a very difficult subject, treated with extraordinary sympathy.
The third one that we agree on is Noel Brennan's kind of small little Buddha child, or with his legs and arms in a funny position. Personally, I think it's really well finished and really skillfully done, but it felt a bit like a V&A museum piece to me.
Technically, it's a very good piece for somebody who's done very little sculpture in a hard medium like stone.
So that's the three they agreed on. They also decided on Rebecca Kidson, Graham Fish, Anne-Marie Wright, Maggie Kitching, Catherine Davies, Antonia Spowers, Liam Jolly, and Robert McPartland. But getting them to decide was a very, very difficult process.
You're determined to have 10 in.
Well, no, it's going to be 11 now, because I'll put that one through.
Right, so we've come to a selection.
Well, that's crazy. Is it 10 or is it 11?
It's gone to 11. It's gone to 11.
It seems to me that we are now quite mischievously undermining the whole...
No, we're giving more people a chance to celebrate.
In that case, leave the whole lot in.
No, we've just cut it down from 100 today to 11. That's quite a severe selection.
Yeah.
It's pretty poor stuff we've had to select from.
I wouldn't agree.
Oh, for Christ's sake. I think I've had enough.
Oh, creative types. We're all the same, you know, it's the artist in us. Next up, Jenny Bond's Royals takes a look at the bitter public breakup of Charles and Di's marriage. Now I'm going to my trailer. Get your people to fax my people, and I'll be back after the news update.